China throws down the gauntlet. Now news is coming that many countries are beginning to sign up with China for transactions using the digital RMB, and this is on a blockchain, and it also avoids using the SWIFT payment gateway. What does this mean for the world, and how much will this affect the world business? We'll take a look at it using a small slide deck. A small request to all of you to please like this video. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, to please subscribe to our channel and also click on the bell button and all option inside the bell button. Thank you very much. Here we go. RMB, not the renminbi paper currency, but the digital RMB goes global. What happened recently? Well, I'm going to give you a bunch of links as always. You can take a look at it and trace when this started getting critical mass. This is not something new. It's been happening for a while. Initially, you had Thailand, Hong Kong, China, and I think Iran was on early on. And then I think Saudi Arabia has joined now. It is beginning to pick up momentum. We're going to have other countries also. I'm going to talk about that. So there is some amount of momentum. This is exactly what Simon Hunt in his conversation with us told about 2 conversations ago. He said that a lot of international trade is taking place outside the dollar, outside the SWIFT. I know I can't tell you, but now we are going to tell you what it is. This is one of the things. See, what happens is if you start making energy trade, that is natural LNG or crude, then what happens is the numbers are massive, and one switch. After all, the payment is only once. If you make that one change there, the number suddenly starts shooting up. Everything starts looking in huge numbers. So I think that's what has happened. I know for a fact Iran did sell crude oil to China in exchange for gold from China instead of the digital RMB, just to kind of make sure that the path works. Since it's all on blockchain, it is traceable. It's also resistant to money laundering. I would say even anti-money laundering, and a lot of good things about it. So how much of a traction is this going to get? What happens if the gold in China runs out? All questions from naysayers who are doubting Thomas's also. Don't be so pessimistic. Be optimistic, but my guess is like this. A few years later, there will be taking off of the standard of gold, that they will stop allowing you to get paid in gold, and it will be basically just the digital RMB. By then, enough trade would have taken place that you would not feel like moving away from the RMB. This is just my 2 cents. This is exactly what happened to dollars. So it's not like, I'm inventing something new here. So what happened? On 17th March, a few days ago, the People's Bank of China launched a digital RMB cross-border settlement system. It now connects 10 ASEAN countries and 6 Middle Eastern countries. So that's a total of 16. This covers 38% of world's trade volume, effectively bypassing the US-dominated SWIFT system. It's referred to by the economists as the Bretton Woods 2.0 outpost battle. This move signals a global financial reset. How is the US going to respond? We'll have to wait and see. But let's talk about what exactly has happened. Typically, a SWIFT transfer takes 3 to 5 working days, and the fair amount of money, there's a stiff transaction fee. In US dollar terms, it's between $25 to $40. And that's a fairly big number, especially if you're just transmitting, if you're just transferring $1,000, a $40 overhead and $1,000 is a lot of overhead. Whereas digital RMB's blockchain-based bridge settles these payments within 7 to 8 seconds and reduces fees by as much as 98%. Pretty impressive, right? So I'll come to the downside also, the way I see it. But let's first take a look at what is the technical moat that China has built. The digital RMB ensures traceable, secure transactions and enables automatic enforcement of anti-money laundering operations. What does it mean by that? Well, what means is that once you have the transaction happen and that gets on the blockchain ledger, you can essentially trace what is going on. But once it goes to some other country, for example, the digital RMB comes to China, from there it will go to somewhere else. So that track is there. But what about the country that is going to receive the digital RMB for its product? What do they do with it? I mean, if there is no conversion to local currency, then the blockchain can go up to the lowest point, and that means that it can be traced. However, this also has a downside that the Chinese government will be able to trace where the money disappeared to, for example, in Iran, even though it's all Iranian money. They sold crude for that, right? So that is a downside. I don't know how they are quite fixing that problem. I think countries will be concerned about it. We'll wait and see how this goes, because this is fairly new. So this is preliminary information that I'm giving you, because the next few days it's going to be only this question. Stock market is down 800 points today in the Wall Street. So it's not because of this. They are doing it because of the incoming tariffs on automobiles from 4th April. But this one is probably also going to take the market down. Now, in the China-Indonesia, two countries, two parks project, payment using digital RMB took only 8 seconds, 100 times faster than traditional methods. Now, 23 central banks have joined the digital currency bridge pilot program. I don't think India is one of them. Middle Eastern energy traders report 75% lower settlement costs using digital RMB. In 2024, cross-border RMB settlements with ASEAN surpassed 5.8 trillion yuan. You know, if you just chop off the conversion rate in dollars, it's $1 trillion, give or take. 120% increase since 2021. Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Cambodia, and Philippines have publicly declared the holdings of RMB in their foreign exchange reserves. See, they are trying to do a like-for-like replacement. They are trying to claim that, look, all these countries have RMB in their reserves. Therefore, RMB also is a standard. I mean, that is going to be the push of China. Now, Malaysia with 116 billion as of December 2024, Singapore with 511.6 billion, and Thailand with 244.8 billion are all the numbers that we have today. The last two numbers are as of February 2025. Thailand has recently completed its first oil settlement using the digital renminbi, marking significant step in the adoption of China's digital currency for international trade. So is Thailand buying crude from China? Wait a minute, isn't China a net consumer of crude oil? Where did China get crude to sell to Thailand? Question, right? What happened here? Well, this has been murmured in the back alleys and rooms everywhere, saying that, wait a minute, it's maybe Iran which is actually sending crude to China, selling crude to China in exchange for drones, missiles, what have you. You didn't hear it from me, okay? I don't know, but this might actually leak out in a few days as to how China is suddenly having crude to spare. It could be also downturn in Chinese economy. Why always look at the conspiracy theories, right? I'm just kidding. But, I'm just giving you all the options, humorously, of course. It could be one of those or it could be something else. Additionally, China's National Offshore Oil Corporation, the CNOOC, and Thailand's PTT company have finalized an international liquefied natural gas trade settled in yuan. See, even in LNG, China claims that it can supply. Where is it getting it from? Qatar, of course, among other places. Also Russia. Now, so there is something going on here. China has cleverly pulled a fast one. That I'm sure. Now, what else is going to happen is what we have to wait and see how US is going to react. Now, the other thing that China has done is that, well, if you want to be a member of the digital RMB, you need to be also a member of the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. Wow, so they are giving a hook there. If you like this, you also must have to conform to that. And India is not part of the BRI. So India is sort of getting a little bit in the left, adrift in the middle. It might continue to do SWIFT. It also has its own thing called UPI, although I would not count UPI as on par with digital RMB. It has a digital rupee, which is supposed to be available for some consumers for commercial applications in India. You have to create a new bank account. It will be a commercial enterprise. A lot of things have to happen, but it is there. Digital rupee is being tested in India also. But India has not taken it and exported it outside. They are staying with UPI. Good idea. I mean, right? Why go and tread on China stuff until you are ready? This is also integrated. The digital RMB is also integrated with the Baidu satellite navigation and quantum communication systems used in projects like China Laos Railway and Jakarta Bandung High Speed Rail. So what it means is that payments on these things can also be made using the digital RMB. So basically, they're trying to slowly get this thing to be used under non country to country like situations. Energy sales and purchases are country to country, but this is slightly different. European companies have begun settling Arctic route trade using digital RMB, increasing efficiency by 400%. Now the cat is out, guys. Swift cannot charge the kind of rates that it was charging, number one. Number two, Arctic Sea suddenly becomes much more important. You know that the vice president and his wife, Usha and J.D. Vance, are in Greenland. There is a lot of interesting things going on there also. I think this might help Europe also to wake up and smell the coffee. The importance of Greenland suddenly becomes very apparent. And let's wait and see how that plays out. What are the challenges to the dollar? First of all, this is one other step towards de-dollarization, and there is a certain amount of financial sovereignty that gets affected, and it's a closed loop RMB ecosystem. Why closed loop? Is because you can use the digital RMB only amongst the countries that are adopting it. It's not like dollar, where dollar is like a dollar bill. It can be used anywhere. Here it's got some restrictions on how you use it. The Bank for International Settlements has declared China is defining the rules of the game in the era of digital currency. Remember, in United States has still not made public its CBDC idea, central bank digital currency idea. Digital RMB is China's CBDC. What about United States? What is it going to do? That is the question. So let's take a quick look at the global footprint and the scale of operations. 87% of countries worldwide are now digitally compatible with the RMB system, according to China. Total cross-border digital RMB payments have crossed 1.2 trillion. I think the number we arrived at was 1 trillion on one set of transactions. Now, it's possible that by the time you add up all the things, it might go to that. In 2022, online payment services provided by China's UnionPay extended to over 22 million clients in over 200 countries and regions overseas, said the annual report on the development of China's bank card industry. Well, you might say there are only 197 countries. How come I'm suddenly making up over 200 plus? Well, there are many regions. That could, be counted as entities, but they are not countries. For example, I'm just bringing it up here. There are approximately 240 to 250 if you combine all of these things. How does it break down? 195 UN recognized sovereign states, 60 to 70 territories and dependencies, 10 to 15 disputed regions and territories with limited recognition. So it adds up to over 200. While the US debates the impact of digital currency, China has already moved ahead with full scale. Now, the key questions going forward: will more countries defect from SWIFT to join the digital RMB network? I don't think the countries that are named here have defected from SWIFT. They will still need SWIFT. There will be two systems that will be going on. I can tell you this is sort of an exaggeration. It's a bit of a hype from China. They want to claim something when US is really hogging all the limelight. We'll just wait and see the reality after some time. How is the United States going to respond to this? What is going to be their strategy? We've been talking about dollar backed by gold. Will they be forced to do that now, sooner rather than later? Or will they come up with some other interesting method which might be something just completely out of the blue? Well, we have to wait and see how that goes, but certainly interesting times ahead. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.